One of my personal favorite performances this year that I don't think has really gotten much chatter among like film fans really, like that I've seen, that I follow on social media when they're talking about the best performances of the year. There's a few that just sort of circulate pretty frequently, and it's, you know, hard to argue, but it's just like, you know, there's just one that no one's really mentioning, and then that is Tim Key in The Ballad of Wallace Island. I thought that performance was incredible. It was hilarious for one. It was really awkward and embarrassing, but always charming, never to a point where it kind of rejects or forgets the audience. You know, you just sort of pity him. I think it's kind of a unique balance that he strikes of humor, pity, shame. The jokes clearly come from a place of, oh my god, why are you doing this? The green screen is being a prick. This'll have to do. Hello guys, what's going on? It's another list rounding out the year. I thought today I would tackle performances, my favorite acting performances in film, specifically film. We're not going to be including TV, although Donnie from The Pit and Rhea Seehorn in Pluribus and Tim Robinson in Chair Company would 100% get a shout if that was the case, so I'll give them a shout now. But the focus of this video will be on the films I've seen this year, and I've not seen every single film with amazing performances this year. I haven't seen Ham in it, that's not out yet. That will have to come in January, and hopefully I'll be able to see that before I do my favorite films of the year video in January. I prefer to leave it to a January, so I just have a little bit of extra time during the holiday season to just catch up on anything I might have missed that I've been hearing is really worth seeing. Obviously you can't get around to everything, but yeah, I've decided I'm in a fairly good place to make this video, going over the best in acting that I've seen this year, as there have been some really show-stopping, memorable performances. The Oscar race, the awards race this year, I don't think it's quite as like 100% locked in most of the acting categories. So yeah, Tim Key is my first pick, one of my favorites. This will not be an ordered list at all, just a selection of what I personally think are like the best of the best. So let's not waste any more time, let's carry on. Rosamund Pike from Hallow Road, a very, very good indie thriller that came out in like the middle of the year from an Iranian filmmaker. I forget the name, but it's a really tense, really solid thriller. Rosamund Pike is in a contained situation in a car the entire film. She's on the phone to her daughter, and she's really convincingly expressing this nightmarish panic that no parent could even fathom going through. And she's wearing all of that so uncomfortably on every gesture, every expression, because not only is she worrying so much in this film as a parent, but also as a wife. There's a bit of a power dynamic, a psychological battle happening in this car between herself and Matthew Rhys's character. They are very much competing in a situation where they need to be on the same team. She was like the anchoring point for the film. Every moment of stress, tension that this film gives you, which there is a lot of, I feel like primarily comes through with Rosamund Pike's performance. I thought she carried it impeccably. It was a great performance. Joaquin Phoenix in Eddington, exploring a side of masculinity that has really been poked at and prodded at in the wake of COVID and the politics of today. That's obviously what Eddington is trying to explore, and it does so very neurotically, very much from an angle that suggests that, oh man, we're really past a turning point. It's really like, man, can we ever come back from this? It's very worried, it's very panicked, and most of that is channeled through Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, he just proves himself to be such a curious actor. Like, you really are fascinated by this guy the entire time. You spend a lot of time with him. You always feel like he's on the cusp of whatever realization you kind of want him to have, but you can also sense that he's never gonna quite unlock, like he's too buried in his ideology, and that's just sort of where the fear comes from today when you see people in the discussions that we have around politics and the internet and AI and all of these things. People are very entrenched in their worldview, and they're surrounded by people that reinforce it, whether it's an agreeable perspective they're having or a more hateful one. That's the way it is, and Joaquin Phoenix really understood that assignment and brought it to the screen in a way that was hilarious but frightening. Julia Garner in Weapons, I think, is my favorite performance in Weapons. I've been hearing that Amy Madigan is like in the conversation for Oscars this year, which is crazy to me. Can't believe that. I really don't know if she'll make it all the way there. I know she managed to snag a Golden Globe nomination. That's really cool. That was a great performance too. Definitely a shout out there. But for my money, Julia Garner was the best performance in Weapons. No. What worked for me about this performance is that Julia Garner hasn't really got the time to process what's happening in this film in the way that we do. We're creeped out and confused and amused by these kids running of their own volition via mind control. Like, it's a bit of a mystery. And Julia Garner's like, you know, terrified for a completely different reason. She's having the entire town pointing the finger at her simultaneously whilst reacting to all of that, and she's sort of having to fight through so much. And yeah, you can see her kind of slipping. She's trying to keep it together and is presented with one absurd situation after another. I think Julia Garner just handled it with so much grace. It's a great performance. Sally Hawkins, bring her back to keep it on the subject of horror lead actress performance. Well, Julia Garner lead actress. She's not in it too much, but I feel like she's the closest thing we have to an overall protagonist in that movie. I don't know, maybe not, but yeah, Sally Hawkins, really chaotic performance here that makes great use of Sally Hawkins's just kind of signature traits. Like, she's really wholesome. You know, you see her in Paddington, you see her in The Shape of Water, you want to give her a hug and protect her, and she's really like, yeah, very pure. And in this, she kind of uses that as a bit of a weapon. Those very same traits exist in this character, but they are weaponized to be uncomfortable and unsettling and freakish, and you pretty quickly lose any and all sympathy you may have had just with it being Sally Hawkins and her being just such a charming actor to begin with. I recently saw her in a film called All Is Bright. She's fucking great in it. She plays like a Russian named Olga. Her accent's like fucking brilliant. It's like, dude, she's actually like kind of an amazing actor. Dwayne Johnson in The Smashing Machine. I actually think this is a tremendous performance. I feel like people went into it like, this is going to be like this transformative thing. There was kind of a bit of pressure on the performance to be like really amazing, you know, this breakthrough moment for Dwayne Johnson. And I think it did meet the moment, but I feel like Dwayne Johnson's just a very easy actor to prod at, and people were like, it's all right. I guess it's technically the best Dwayne performance. It's not saying much though. No, I actually think what he did in this film was really impressive. He did truly melt into a character, and it's a character that is very clearly specifically suited to Dwayne Johnson. This friendly, warm front that is put up by Dwayne Johnson in this character was really effective at sort of disarming the viewer into this spiraling psychosis that happens when he can't really handle loss or the pressure of being an adult and responsibility. Dwayne Johnson found the humility in all of that, understood what the script was trying to get at, and delivered a very entertaining, engrossing, curious, and layered performance. I think he did a really great job. Michael Cera in The Phoenician Scheme. A lot of people told me or said in their review of The Running Man that Michael Cera was like one of the best parts. I didn't really feel that way. Oh, he was so funny. He was just, he stole the show. He was in it for like 3 minutes. He wasn't like in it much. And he was kind of funny. Like, the idea of his character's funny. But you want to talk about Michael Cera being funny this year? Phoenician Scheme, he is so fun. I always love it when actors mess with their voice. They kind of use their voice as a means of warping and molding the character into something you could never initially imagine the actor themselves, or what you know the actor to be, who you know the person to be. You know, when they kind of use their voice to sort of push them into new territory, that's always fun, and Michael Cera does that so effectively here for great comedic effect, and some of the best like visual gags came from Michael Cera in this film. Shout out to Mia, I forgot her surname. She was fantastic. Is it Threepleton? Benicio del Toro was fantastic. All around, very good performances happening in Phoenician Scheme, even though most of them are very small performances, very brief performances, like Bryan Cranston, Riz Ahmed, Richard Ayoade, Benedict Cumberbatch, Scarlett Johansson. They were all super entertaining in this movie. They all left a mark on the overall thing. And to be honest, the more I've thought back on the Phoenician Scheme, I actually think there's more to it than I gave it credit for. Speaking of actors that like to use their voice to bend and mold their characters into new things, Austin Butler, great example of that, but he doesn't really do that in the film I'm spotlighting him in here, which is Caught Stealing. He was the lead in Caught Stealing, and I think he did a fantastic job. A lot of people are calling him like a new era Brad Pitt. Caught Stealing, I think, is like the most obvious reason why anyone would say that. He's very much channeling like a young Brad Pitt, even down to his voice as this like cool stud who's maintaining composure in the face of just non-stop escalating mayhem. There's a real intensity to Austin Butler, and Matt Smith and that Russian guy, also really solid performances. Shout out to them. Jodie Comer in 28 Years Later, one of the best actors out, dude. She's kind of the goat. An extremely brittle, frail, fragile performance. She's very upsetting, very much a victim in this film. Alfie Matthews, who I'm also gonna, Alfie Williams. Really liked Alfie Williams as the sort of lead in this film. Again, just an intensity with him. And this film it's all about intensity and ferocity and chaos. So this is a really just like pulsating film, you know. So for this young lad to meet that level of frantic, non-stop unpredictability, like that definitely is a lot for an actor to take on. And I'm very impressed with how much he pulled it off here. Theodore Pellerin in Lurker. What an uncomfortable and hypnotizing performance. I was loving the little smirks, the kind of passive, like gentle eyes he has as he sort of tries to weasel his way into the friend groups of these people he's obsessed with and all that. I think he is really eerie in this movie. He's so slimy. I loved him in this film. When Zach Fox asks him to like pull his pants down and he's like trying to be in on the joke, but he doesn't really realize that they're sort of toying with him, and it's so uncomfortable, but it's so funny as well. When Sonny Soljic's like, it's cool that they let a fan hang out, and he's like, I'm not a fan, man. Trying to do like the nonchalant thing. It's such a real thing. It's such an uncomfortably real guy. In an exaggerated satirical way, sure, but at the same time, very real. Oh man, it was good. It was a good performance. Too good of a performance, honestly. Made me squirm. Eva Victor in Sorry Baby, one of the best performances of the year. This is like top 5. I have got a number 1. I will say which one is my number 1. But yeah, Eva Victor, you know, in any other year could be the number 1, to be honest. Like, this is an insanely good performance. A performance catered for her, by her. This film is an Eva Victor passion project through and through. But yeah, what I loved about this performance was the sense of humor, you know, happening in this character was really one of a kind. You know, the humor in this film, from what I've been able to tell, is the make or break factor, whether or not you're going to hate or love, or where you're going to land on this film. I think largely seems to be down to whether or not you can get on board with the sense of humor. The sense of humor is very uncomfortable. It's a little bit inappropriate. It's very awkward and sarcastic. And if it's not your kind of vibe, humor-wise, you're going to sort of bounce off it. But I think it really works for this film because clearly this character is using it as a coping mechanism, as a defense mechanism. And I think what this performance impressed me so much with was how much I understood, like sometimes in situations like maybe like a funeral, or when the subject matter gets very personal, bleak, your brain goes to funny places, maybe because it doesn't want to confront what's happening, maybe because you just know it's kind of the thing you shouldn't do. Regardless, like, it's a very real thing to maybe in your head think of something funny, blurt out something funny when you really shouldn't. All of the interesting questions that emerge in that situation are very much asked, and in some cases answered by Eva Victor in Sorry Baby. It's a lot of tones to balance, but I think she smashed it. It's an extremely thoughtful and powerful performance. Sean Penn in One Battle After Another, Leonardo DiCaprio in One Battle After Another, and Chase Infinity in One Battle After Another. Shout out to Teyana Taylor as well, but I think her limited screen time just relegates her to shout-out territory, whereas I want to claim Sean Penn, Chase Infinity, and Leonardo DiCaprio as like, these are 3 of the best of the year. These are on my list. These are all so good, but the best of the three has got to be Sean Penn. Sean Penn is fucking amazing in this movie. I love him. I'm not a homosexual. Like you could tell this performance landed as well as it did when, you know, a week after the film came out, we were seeing people dressing up as the character, mimicking the little like mouth movements and mimicking the walk and, you know, doing skits and stuff. Like, this performance right away, it's a character, that we've never seen a version of it ever. It feels like an original guy, and that is insane. He's totally going to win Best Supporting Actor. I feel like Best Supporting Actor is the only acting category that right now I can say confidently is locked in. No way it doesn't go to Sean Penn. And yeah, it is pretty deserved. Leonardo DiCaprio was fucking hilarious in this movie. Where's the fucking rendezvous point? That entire... He's on the phone trying to figure out everything. He's incredible. You can't take your eyes off him. He's amazing. And he really understood the performative nature of what his character is supposed to represent as this kind of leftist revolutionary who, when left to his own devices, just becomes a bit of a layabout, doesn't really know what he's doing, doesn't really have much of a purpose or passion, but claims to sort of know better. He's talking to the teacher and everything at the beginning of the film. The flaws of this character are so apparent, but they're very honest. They're very human. And as much of a fuck up as he is, you sort of feel there's a sweetness there. There's something endearing about him. And then you got Chase Infinity, who is really like the epitome of rising star. Like what I think sets One Battle After Another apart the strongest from its like contemporaries this year, like the Bugonias and the Eddingtons, the films reacting to today, is that One Battle After Another is particularly hopeful because it has characters that you can pinpoint as heroes. And the sort of ending mantra of this film makes me feel like it's a bit of a passing of the torch sort of thing. And then you have Chase Infinity kind of embodying that torch. And she was exciting. She was exhilarating. She was such a force in this movie. I think as far as actors that met the moment this year, Chase Infinity as a newcomer was given a bit of a task in that regard. And I think she really executed. She was such a fun character to follow. Tim Robinson in Friendship. Friendship as a comedy is obviously a great time. Saw the film twice, both times, found it extremely funny. But this film is really trying to say something about male friendship. I Think You Should Leave and The Chair Company, I think, are more explicitly trying to be just silly, stupid, laugh out loud, dumb comedies. Friendship, I think, is trying to get at a feeling, whether it be through its more surreal, patient, weird cinematography and filmmaking. Like, the tone of this movie is very odd. The music choices, the sort of cold crispiness of the winter setting, you know, that there's just a vibe to this film that tells me that there is more to it than just being a dumb comedy. As a dumb comedy, it works, but Tim Robinson really is the fucking GOAT when it comes to building a character who is like a ticking time bomb, who doesn't really get how to function in a social scenario. And this is a film that really explores taking something too far to actually kind of ruin your life. And that is a bit of a frightening, eerie space to exist in. His performance made me understand that no, there's actually more layers to friendship than you might initially assume. It's a really thoughtful film, but first and foremost, it is very, very funny. I look like a marvel. That pig was flying. Robert Pattinson, Mickey 17, feel like I haven't heard a mention of this performance in a little too long. He was so good in this movie. He was good in Die My Love as well. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence was the standout in that film, but he was good in that movie. However, in Mickey 17, he wasn't just good. He was like crazy good. This is a fucking awesome performance. A very innocent, weaselly little guy who's just kind of a doof. Yeah, he's one of those actors that just fucking fades away whenever you see him in a film. It's crazy how transformative he is. Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone in Bargonia, absolutely two of the best performances of the year. The best Jesse Plemons performance, for sure. Frightening Jesse Plemons performance. And he's just sort of a scary guy in general. You always want to know what the hell he's thinking. And you've never been more uncomfortable about the thought of what he could be thinking, quite like you are in Bargonia. Obviously, the Civil War brief appearance he had there was sort of similar in tone to what you're getting from him in Bargonia, to where he's just like on the brink of like going there at every given moment in Bargonia, and you don't even fully know where there is, and that's what makes it like a exciting push and pull between the audience and the film. And then Emma Stone being the kind of intellectual overseer, trying to talk her way out of her situation, but also really explore why Jesse Plemons has arrived at this point. We need to shout out Aidan Delbus too. Aidan Delbus was the heart of this fucking movie. It's pretty easy to come off as the weak link when you're acting side by side with Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. Aidan Delbus doesn't even slightly teeter on being that. He is so great in the film. Frank Delane in Urchin. This is my pick for performance of the year. This character is difficult, really difficult. This film is very much challenging the viewer, putting a lot of faith in the viewer to empathize with this character. This character's a complete asshole, but you're always extremely conscious of the context that this character is sort of stuck in, and as pitiful and shameful as he is, you can see the glint in his eye. You can see what's being squandered, what's being lost, what he's destroying for himself. You can see the potential, and Frank Delane just brought such a heartbreaking level of tenderness and warmth and understanding and genuine empathy to what is truly a challenging character. I loved that scene where he clocks somebody like talking down to him. Like, when you talk to her, you don't sound like that, but when you talk to me, you start adopting this tone like you're talking to me like I'm a child or something. He just really captures this like painfully real fragility. He's a character that you can't support, but you want to, and you're left sort of unsure of where one would even start in order to put in motion the change you want to see in this character's life. And I think Frank Delane just understood all of that complexity so fundamentally. This is a powerhouse performance. Like, this is seriously moving shit. It's definitely my favorite of the year. It's one of my favorites of the decade. It's incredible. Robert Aramayo from I Swear. I found myself very frustratingly unmoved by I Swear. I thought the film was a little too PSA for my liking. It kind of came off more like a PSA than a movie to me, which is unfair probably. But I loved this performance at the center of it. This is an incredibly difficult performance to do. The physicality of this performance is pretty demanding. It reminds me a little bit of what James McAvoy was doing in Split. This probably isn't very accurate, but in the sense that it's very easy for it to come off like tone deaf or overperformed, or there's a lot of room for error in a character like that. Robert Aramayo explored this character, this condition, with so much sympathy and so much humor. Couldn't really have drawn up a better actor to play this role, to be honest. This was a really good performance. Caleb Landry Jones in Harvest. This performance is peculiar. I loved it. I thought it was unbelievably messy and dirty, and I've seen a few reviews hating on this performance. It's very mumbly and kind of zombie-like, but that was just so intoxicating to me in this movie. I found him very dislikable and gross, but yeah, I actually think this fit the tone of the film perfectly. Like, what Caleb was doing here was really impressive to me. It felt like somebody who, would see a candle and they would like get high somehow. the lumbering frustration, this kind of unfulfillment permeating around this character was, yeah, it was really, really cool. I thought he killed this performance. Harry Melling in, not Harvest, but because he's also in that, Pillion. Harry Melling in Pillion. What a fucking adorable performance. This film, actually, the more I've thought about it, is really great. This is a fantastic movie. And the main thing that makes it work is Harry Melling clearly doesn't know, or his character clearly doesn't know exactly where he stands as far as how he feels about what he's going through in this film. He's discovering himself and what he's interested in and stuff like that, but he's aware that it's like not what he's been trained to believe is right. He could see that it's kind of toxic and cruel in a lot of ways, but part of him is clearly wrestling with whether or not that's just like the stigma that has been placed on relationships like the one we're seeing in this film. Maybe it's something he should embrace more, maybe that's something he's into, and just that like discovery process, that wide-eyed excitement but fear. Harry Melling was a perfect casting choice because he's a very timid and precious soul, you know, like he just comes off very, very brittle in this movie. He's a very moldable person, very what's the word, like influenceable, what's the word for that? It's like a what's the word for that? I know the one I'm trying to say. Starts with an I. It starts with an I, bro. Someone who is like easily receptive to people trying to influence them. What is the word for that? Rose Byrne in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I'd also like to shout out in this list as well Conan O'Brien in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I think Conan O'Brien is incredible in this movie. I do think that's also one of the best of the year. Not one of the best of the year, but I also want to shout out A$AP Rocky in this movie, as well as A$AP Rocky in Highest to Lowest. Not quite making it on my list for best of the year, but both really good performances. I think A$AP Rocky's screen presence, even though he's just sort of playing a bit of a variant, a little tweak on kind of himself, he's still on screen, he's eerily natural. He's really good. Hope to see him more, to be honest. But yeah, Rose Byrne and Conan O'Brien brought the fucking house down. You know what as well? Sorry, while we're on the subject of this movie, Mary Bronstein, the director of this film, she's in the movie as the most patronizing doctor ever. Like, she gave me so much anxiety, bro. Fucking hell, man. You could tell she was the director because she just made me squirm, and this film's whole goal is to make you fucking squirm. I really got like snuggled up and ready to watch this movie. Like, I've heard this is really good. Rose Byrne, A$AP Rocky, let's get snuggled up and comfy. This movie is not fucking comfy. This movie is a tirade. Rose Byrne in this film, she's probably got number 2. If I had to like make a top 5, make a ranked list, Frank Delane's number 1. I think Rose Byrne is comfortably number 2. She was unreal in this movie. The crux of the film is about how motherhood, parenting, being a responsible adult, the amount that is expected of you, working 9 to 5, balancing everything. It's like, shit, we were not built for this, you know? And then on top of that, keeping up with friends and news and social media and instant gratification, like shit, the shit just piles up. And this film is all about somebody caught in the middle of all of that and then like a million other things. Rose Byrne is just trying to reach this impossible place of, once I get through this, I'll be okay. Once I tick off these things on my to-do list, I can finally relax. And she's just constantly on this mission to figure it all out herself. And she is just drowning and drowning and drowning in the midst of all this and making reckless decisions. And every time she fucks up, you're just like, ah. And Conan O'Brien kind of represents the other side of the coin, somebody who is so numb to all of it that he's sort of a miserable, emotionless husk, very cynical character. And he was incredible. He was kind of intimidating in this movie. I loved it. Josh O'Connor has been in quite a few movies this year. I've seen 2 of the 4 films he's in this year, and both of those performances I think are 2 of the best of the year. The Mastermind and Wake Up Dead Man, 2 very different performances, really highlighting his range as an actor. He's really got the sauce. It's hard to pick a favorite of these 2. I think they're both so good. Wake Up Dead Man's definitely like the flashier of the 2. The Mastermind is, it's very his character is very wasteful, because I think a big element of The Mastermind that makes it work for me is the classism aspect, or the status of this character. The fact that this character is kind of very privileged, clearly. He's like the last fucking guy that needs to be completely ruining his life in the way he is in The Mastermind. You can tell that he feels like this is his only shot to break out of some prison that he feels like he's in, and there's a bit of a sorrowful element that Josh O'Connor really tenderly captures in The Mastermind. And then you have Wake Up Dead Man, where he's just on fire. He's similarly very kind of broken. He's really the heart of the movie. That phone call with the lady, starts off as a bit of a joke where he can't like get off the phone, and then it transpires into one of the most beautiful dialogue exchanges I've seen in a movie this year. Hilarious. He's so funny in Wake Up Dead Man as well. This year has really shown me that Josh O'Connor is somebody I want to see in like fucking everything. He's in that new Spielberg as well. Very excited. Wagner Moura in The Secret Agent, one of the big front runners for nominations this year. Probably, maybe my pick. What makes this performance really great is that there are elements to this character you don't really see until the end of the film, but they are present from the beginning of the film. You know, I think this film would probably serve a rewatch very well. Even though I didn't love the movie, I could see myself getting more out of it on a second go around, because I do think there's a lot to this performance and the kind of between the lines elements of this story that warrant multiple, you know, read-throughs. It's a really restrained, subtle, and hypnotizing performance here. He's an incredible leading man. I never really considered his potential there, but yeah, he's excellent in this movie. Jennifer Lawrence in Die My Love. Oh my god, one of the best of the year. Explosive performance. Really, really weirdly funny performance. It's a suffocating one, but I found myself laughing, whether that was intentionally or uncomfortably, when she's buying food at the store and just being really blunt and sarcastic. Like, she's just so completely disassociated from her own self-interest, the world around her. She feels like she's just living on a completely separate dimension to everybody else, and just totally broken and shattered at the hands of this child she's had. It's a really oppressive, explosive, and violent way to express postnatal depression to the viewer. But Jennifer Lawrence, I think, understood exactly what Lynn Ramsey was trying to sort of box in with this film and brought it to the screen very frighteningly. Lee Byung-hun in No Other Choice was so fucking good, man. Incredibly funny performance. One of the best, like, comedic performances of the year. Weirdly stoic and robotic. This guy's on a damn mission in this movie, and it's the more I've thought about No Other Choice, man, that is so fucking good, dude. There are so many elements of this movie that highlight the many ways we have just built this world wrong. The kind of corporate ladder classism. This film paints it all to be absurd, and this performance, just on this guy's face alone, you can see every, like, emotional battle happening at the hands of all of these societal systems that don't make any fucking sense. And I found it really absurd, really funny, and he really met the moment in the dramatic, more emotional moments too. He was just a damn force in this movie. It was a really, really good performance. Timothée Chalamet in Marty Supreme. His performance in Marty Supreme is incredible. Like, separate from all of this fanfare, all of this promo, just strictly looking at this as a leading performance, this is fucking amazing. This is a really incredible performance, dude. It's hard to think of another performance this year that's quite as locked in as this one. Like, I'm very impressed with just the command Timothy has here. Every scene he's in, I really can't exaggerate it. Every single scene in this movie with Marty Mauser dominating a conversation, he's speaking so quickly, he's switching up his tone, he's charming them, he's sort of casting a little spell on everyone he talks to. Timothy just rides that line so damn adeptly in this fucking movie. It's an incredible performance, man. I look at this list of performances and most of them didn't have me as transfixed as this one. This one, like, the entire movie sort of hinging on it. He killed it. It was incredible. It's definitely his best work. Melissa Boros in Alpha. Didn't love Alpha, but we gotta give credit where it's due, man. There are some stills, some faces of shock from Melissa Boros in this movie that are pretty, like, etched into my brain. As far as acting this year, that really captures kind of fear and pressing on and overcoming a lot of mental and physical obstacles. Like, this is one that just comes to mind. So yeah, Jacob Elordi as well. Frankenstein. Yeah, real surprise for me, this one. This was really, I was hearing he was great in it, but I didn't realize he was gonna have so much screen time and so much dialogue. It was an extremely physical performance, but he was like the driving force of this movie. The message of this movie was best communicated through this performance, because the dialogue was very on the nose, I thought. Found Oscar Isaac to be a little bit too hammy and zany. Jacob Elordi fully understood, I think, the tone that this film should have fully embraced. One of curiosity and his pure eyes, really seeing the world for what it can be, what it really is, and just feeling everything those things should evoke within a beating heart. Despite how powerful of a character Frankenstein's monster is, Jacob Elordi brings this, like, innocence and weakness that is really, really moving. It's one of the most moving performances of the year. This thing choked me up a little bit, strictly when it was Elordi on screen doing his thing. Two more left. First up, Ma Shi Yuan from Left-Handed Girl. Do apologize if I fucked up that pronunciation. I love the defiance and rebellion in this character. This film just keeps kind of throwing new scenarios, new dilemmas, new, like, antics at the audience, and you're following this lead character just jumping off of each one, using each one as like a little stepping stone to advance or get revenge. And the way it all spirals and the way this performance just sort of managed to anchor it all, I thought was really impressive. I think it's a really exciting lead performance, and this film's worth watching for many reasons, but I think this lead is one of the biggest reasons it is worth a watch. I think it's on Netflix Netflix right now. And lastly, the final performance I'm going to spotlight as one of the best of the year. I'm sure there's plenty of great performances that I've missed in this video that I've forgotten about, that I haven't seen yet. Let me know in the comments what those are. But this will be my last pick, and that's Channing Tatum in Roofman. I think from 21 Jump Street onwards, his comedic chops were very much highlighted in that film, as well as its sequel, 22 Jump Street. In Roofman, those same qualities do him a lot of favors because he's really charming in those films. Roofman, his charm is his biggest strength, because this character in the hands of another actor could be potentially extremely dislikable and cold, and then the film falls apart. The film completely rests on the ability for the audience to want to see this character win. You want to see Jeffrey Manchester find a way to eke his way out of this hole he's dug himself in. You know, again, in any other movie, this guy comes off like a brute, like a tyrant. But the reason this story is interesting is because he was nice to everybody. He committed crimes, he stole, he did a lot of stuff that is bad, but he was friendly. And Channing Tatum is just so innately kind. And even though the film does teeter into rom-com territory a little too much for my liking, it does definitely understand how to operate in that space, and I think casting Channing Tatum is proof of that enough alone. So overall, it was really a great performance that made the film work, I think. And that concludes my list. There you go. That's every single performance I've seen this year that I would call one of the best of the year, and I'm sure there's plenty more I will add to this list as I see more films from this year. Let me know which of these you agree with, disagree with. Let me know which I should have added to the list. What performances have really moved you this year? The comments are right there, just waiting for you. You know, don't leave them empty. Don't leave them empty, bro. Like the video, subscribe for more lists, because I'm going to have my favorite movies of the year list coming very soon once January rolls around, so you don't want to miss that. So make sure you subscribe, but most importantly, you just have a fantastic day and have a fantastic